Hi friends, this is Anna Hellman with Scrapping, Stamping, and Stuff. I'm back with part 5 of 6 introducing our new Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And today I just want to teach you how to emboss paper for your cards and other paper craft projects. This is a beautiful technique. I absolutely love the way embossing looks on my projects. And what it is, it involves raising up certain portions of the paper to get these beautiful textures and patterns. So just to clarify, there are 2 types of embossing that we talk about, especially with card making. This is dry embossing. There's also a separate technique called heat embossing that I will talk about in a different video. But this is dry embossing. So show you these cards a little bit closer just so you can appreciate the amazing texture on them. This is such a neat technique. You can use this technique. Honestly, you can emboss the back. I mean, look at this one right here. I embossed the background of the card. I added a couple of little trinkets. I didn't even put a greeting on this one. And it's just so pretty that you don't really have to do much else to your project. So the supplies you need to emboss include your cut and emboss machine, 1 or more embossing folders, and some paper, of course. So that's all you need. I want to talk about these folders a little bit and explain a couple of things in case you haven't actually done this before to help you understand how these work. So an embossing folder is called a folder because it opens up like this. And when you open it up, you are going to have one side that has the pattern raised up, and the other side is going to have that same pattern recessed. So this fits together, and as your paper runs through, it is going to press that pattern into your paper. So I want you to pay attention. This is something I never really used to pay attention to, but where is that Stampin' Up! Logo or your logo on the folder? Is it on this side or is it on this side? And I really encourage you to start paying attention to that when you're doing your embossing. If you want your pattern raised up from your paper, you're going to want the Stampin' Up! Logo up. That is called, technically, that is the embossing. If you want your pattern pressed down into your paper, that is called debossing. You are going to want the Stampin' Up! Logo down. Now, if you are just using a plain piece of paper that is the same on both sides, it doesn't matter. You can run it through either way. When you pull it out, you can just flip it to the side that you want to use. When the challenge comes in is, let's say you're embossing a piece of designer paper that's different on both sides, or let's say you stamp something on your paper first, then you want to make sure you run it through the correct way so that you get your pattern either up or down for whatever you want for that project. So we do have 2 types of embossing folders. We have our 3D embossing folders, which are thicker to get more 3-dimensional results, the one in my right hand. And then we have some standard embossing folders like the one in my left hand that don't give you quite as deep of an impression. Okay, so those are the basics. Let's talk about how to actually do this. So to emboss, you're going to need your plates that came with your machine. And if you want to know more about this machine, make sure you check out the other videos in this series, my introduction to the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, answering your frequently asked questions, and I have a couple of other ones as well. But these plates come with your machine, and they have a diagram on them to explain which plates you need. They are all numbered, which I love about this machine, and the plates that come with it. They're all numbered and explains you what you need. So this bottom portion is embossing. I am going to show you an example with a 3D folder, but just to help you learn, I want to show you this as well. For standard embossing folders, you need base plate 1 right here, and you need both plate number 3s These are the clear cutting plates. So you put one of number 3 down, then you need your embossing folder. Open it up, put your paper in, make sure it's straight. You always want to run your embossing folders through the machine with the hinge first. So that portion where it opens up, that's the hinge. Put that first. Then we need this second clear cutting plate, okay? So that is how we do it for standard folders. It's a little bit different for 3D embossing folders. It shows us right here. All we need for the 3D folders, which is most of the ones we offer at this point, is number 1, the base plate, then our folder with the paper inside. I'm going to show you this with our Parisian Flourish embossing folder. This one is just beautiful. So I'll open it up, put my paper inside, close that back down, make sure my hinge is there at the top so that it will go through first, and come back to this image. It shows number 4 is what I need. This is our specialty plate, and we are ready to insert this. So you push it into the machine until it starts to catch. And I know you can't see my handle, but my handle of my machine is starting to move here. So at that point, I take my handle, I start cranking it, and you know what? I see something here that makes for a good teachable moment. See my folder sticking out the edge here? You do not want that. You want everything to be nice and even here. If that folder sticks out the edge, it may get damaged as it goes through this machine. So I'm going to straighten that up, send it back through. Once I get it going, I'm going to put my hand up here on the top handle of the machine. Crank it all the way through. Pull it out. And let's see what we got. Isn't that pretty? I just love this. Love this folder. I love all of these, but it's just a really neat technique. I wanted to make sure for those of you who have never tried this that you can at least see how it works and know the basics of it. I do want to show you one other thing. I get a question a lot of times about how do you emboss the base of the card itself. So on this one, for example, you can see that the front of the card is embossed. The back of the card isn't. Well, how do you do that? Because it's all attached. So let me show you that real quickly. So here's my card base, and I won't actually run this through, but I'll just show you how I do it. So I already have it scored so I can tell where that dividing line is between my front and my back. Open up your folder, and depending on the pattern, you may want to orient this different directions. Ideally, you want to have the hinge at the top and line up your score line for the center of your card down here at the bottom of the folder. Fold it closed, run it through your machine. Sometimes when you get patterns that are directional, like trees, for example, you may need to run it through this way, but just keep in mind it is best for your folders not to damage them, and best for your embossed results that you're going to get if you always run it through with that hinge first. So I want to show you a few more examples of how I have used embossing on some of my projects. So here is one of our new folders. I used the Old World embossing folder on all 3 of these, but I just wanted to show you on these. I've just used it on a couple of small strips. This one, I used it on the background of that card. This, I'm going to show you some more samples here of using folders with specialty papers. So regular embossed paper is beautiful, but when you start adding in some of the specialty papers, it brings it to a whole new level. So here is one with the gold foil. This is one of our new folders in this year's holiday catalog. Here is one I did with vellum that turned out beautiful. Here is something, you cannot do this with an embossing folder, but if you see that embossing on this poinsettia, this is a die set. My next video is going to be all about die cutting, just an introduction to die cutting. And this is a new type of die we have that it cut out these poinsettias and it embossed the detail in them at the same time. So that's kind of fun too. It's a little bit different than using the folders. Here is another one of our new folders in this year's holiday catalog. So there's just a lot of different ways to use this. You can see here, I just embossed this portion on the card base. I embossed this whole piece for the insert. And you can even emboss things like your envelopes. So this would be the coordinating set. And isn't that just beautiful? That will definitely make somebody smile when they open this at Christmas time. So to do this, all you do is open up that envelope and just insert a portion of it into that folder. So I hope this helped you learn about embossing. If you have any questions, please let me know. I would love it if you would like this video and comment with questions or anything that you saw that you liked here, anything you would like to learn more about. You can find more ideas and inspiration on my website at scrappingstampingandstuff.com. Make sure you check out my previous videos about the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine in my future videos, and let me know if there's anything I can do to help you. Have a wonderful day.